Okay, I call this meeting to order of the Champaign County Board. It's Thursday, September 18th, 2008. The time is 7:03. Roll call.
Ammons. Anderson.
Here.
Beckett.
Here.
Bensall. Betts.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Cowart.
Present.
Dennitz.
Here.
Gladney.
Present.
Gross.
Here.
Hunt.
Here.
James.
Here.
Jay.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Knott.
Here.
Langenheim.
Here.
McGinty.
Here.
Mosher.
Here.
Nudo.
Go White Sox.
O'Connor.
Here.
Putman. Richards.
Here.
Sapp. Schrader.
Here.
Wysocki. Weibel.
Here, we have a quorum, and Ms. Ames called in sick earlier today. Tonight's prayer is, my wife selected it from one of her favorite books called On the Doorsteps, or sorry, on the Doorposts of Your House. You whom we turn to, not knowing where. You who are everywhere, not yet here. You whom we question without reply. Please give us tomorrow's good today. Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would the clerk read the notice of the meeting, please?
Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the County Board, Champaign County, Illinois, will convene on September 18th, 2008, 7 p.m. in the Lyle Shields Meeting Room, Brookins Administrative Center, 1776 East Washington Street, Urbana, Illinois, in said county for the purpose of allowing and ordering payments of claims against the county, receiving and acting upon reports of committees and such other matters as may be brought before said meeting shall continue in session from day to day until the completion of said business.
Move approval.
Second by Mr. Beckett, moved by Mr. Betts. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Seek approval of the minutes of August 21st, 2008.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Beckett, second by Mr. McGinty. Discussion. Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Seek approval of the agenda and the addendum.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Wysocki, second by Mr. Carter. Ms. Court. Mr. Betts.
I would ask upon approval that we have a unanimous consent to place item 10 right after we approve the agenda so that Mr. Kurtz can be sworn in. I would ask unanimous consent.
So given.
Thank you, Ms. Putman. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Betts.
I ask that the chair check for unanimous consent. I think you have to do that.
Right. His ruling was that there was.
Then I move the adoption of Resolution 6636, appointing Alan Kurtz as County Board Member in District 7 to fill Carrie Moline's unexpired term ending November 30th, 2010. I so move.
Second by Ms. Anderson. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries.
Hi there. As soon as I say it.
What do you say?
Yeah, could you use the microphone?
He needs to be down here in the well. In the well.
Over there?
Take the microphone with you.
Take the microphone.
Okay. Say everything.
Thank you.
It works.
I don't think I'm the microphone. That's okay.
Okay,
I, Alan Kurtz,
having been appointed to the office
having been appointed to the office
of
County Board Member, District 7,
in the state of Illinois,
in the state of Illinois,
in the county of Champaign,
County of Champaign,
have said,
do
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
or affirm that you will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the State of Illinois.
State of Illinois.
And that you will faithfully discharge
And I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties
of the
County Board member
to the best of your ability.
to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, the date and time of our next regular meeting is Tuesday, October 21st, 2008 at 7 p.m. Please note that has changed. It is not on Thursday. Usually it's on Tuesday. Members of the press, please take a note of that. The reason is, of course, that we need to have 30 days for the budget to be on file when it's before it's voted on in November. Okay, public participation. Nora Stewart.
Good evening. My name is Nora M. Stewart, president of ASME Local 900, which represents the employees of Champaign County. I stand before you once again asking that you, the board, that was elected by the citizens, many of which are employees of the Champaign County Nursing Home, to represent and make decisions in their best interest to address the ongoing mistreatment of the employees at the nursing home by the administration. Before getting elected president, I could only go by what I was told. Since being elected, I've had firsthand knowledge of the ongoing situation. Our members, your employees, are being harassed, mistreated, and forced to work under deplorable conditions. Since July of this year, I have had to leave my job in the Champaign County Clerk's office on 8 separate occasions, 2 of which were this past Monday, to address incidents at the nursing home that clearly should not have happened. At present, one of the employees, an Asking Me member, is worried about losing his job because he called in late the day his father had to be rushed by ambulance to the hospital. This is an employee who in the past has never had any type of discipline problems whatsoever. He was given an FMLA form with the help of the nursing home administration. He was told the dates to put on the form, was told that he needed to have his father's doctor complete the physician section and return it to them, only to be told when he did that the form could not be backdated and he would be penalized for each day he was not at work. Mind you, the doctor put on the form the dates he was with his father at the hospital and that he would need to be there on a continuous basis because of the seriousness of his father's illness. Well, as of Monday, September the 15th, he was told by the assistant nursing home administrator that he could be terminated because he had reached his point deduction limit, and that it was up to the administrator, who wouldn't be back until Wednesday, September the 17th, if he would be fired. He not only has to worry about his father's medical problems, who, by the way, had to have emergency surgery yesterday at 4 p.m. and is now on life support system, he now has to worry if he's going to lose his job or not. At present, there are no less than 10 active grievances against the administrators. Every employee that has filed or have been listed in a grievance because they are tired of being mistreated and have become a target. They have been written up, suspended, and even terminated for one reason or another. You have a director of nursing who has the gumption and gall to tell employees when they can smile, nod their head, or even speak, and tells them in their staff meetings, yes, excuse me, I'm a B. You want me to show you how big a B I can be? You have workers that are not taking their breaks and lunch hours because they are told, you better get the work done before you leave or you'll get written up. Get over it and stop the whining. Employees who are doing their jobs and jobs outside of their classifications as well, including servers who are acting as cooks and unloading food trucks and supply trucks. These are dedicated employees who continue to put up with the mistreatment because they love and care about the welfare of the residents and don't want to be the next ones put on the chopping block. One of the employees told me, Miss Nora, when you work in a place like this, you can't help but love and worry about the people you take care of. You're their family away from home. But the administrators are so mean and rude to us that you wonder sometimes, is it worth it? Then you go into the resident's room and they smile or squeeze your hand to let you know how they appreciate you. And you say to yourself, maybe it is worth it. Tell me, could or would you work under these conditions? I think not. So why would you want another human being to be subject to such inhumane and degrading treatment? Why would you want excuse me, administrations like the one at the nursing home to run a place that one day either you or your loved one might have to be a resident? Put yourself in their shoes. Let your conscience be your guide. I beg of you to do what you know is right in your hearts. Please, please do something about the administrators at the Champaign County Nursing Home. Thank you.
Ms. Patsy Petrie.
I'm Patsy Petrie, and I'm speaking as a taxpayer of the county. I have two issues. They concern the nursing home. You're probably well aware that I have been quite concerned about the nursing home and have sort of been observing it. I'm not on the inside as the lady who spoke previously, but one of my concerns does pertain to the administrator, and it's my understanding from the contract that the county board has with MPA is that the county board is to give a thumbs up or thumbs down on the appointment of the administrator. And I've not seen any data that this has occurred from the standpoint of the county board. The second point that I want to raise is I was given a letter, it's in the public domain, that was sent to the county board from the Chamber of Commerce, and it was sent on the 25th of August. And this letter asked for some very specific pieces of information from the county board related to the nursing home, some of which is why are the finances in the situation they're presently in, what can be done to do that. There's even offer from the Chamber of Commerce to assist with this aspect of developing a long-range plan for the nursing home, especially in relationship to going to the county residents for with a referendum to increase the tax base for the nursing home. So my question is, I've not seen this on the agenda, and I'm curious as to when the county board will be responding to this letter from the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much.
Dwayne Northrup.
Good evening. I just wanted to come tonight because I happened to catch something on the agenda that I found interesting and thought I should bring something to your attention based on my opinion of what I saw. On the pink sheets on the Policy, Personnel, and Appointments Committee, number 1 references an adoption of Resolution 6697 for an exception to the county personnel policy regarding the hiring or compensation of employees or something in the public defender's office. So I went back and looked over that because I found it curious that they were going to make an exception to the personnel policy or the salary policy. And I thought I would bring it to your attention that what I read in the public defender statute, there's a similar part of that statute in the coroner statute. There's a similar statute in the recorder statute that states, and I'd like to just quote briefly from the coroner statute where it states the coroner can appoint deputies. It says each coroner may appoint one or more deputies as the coroner in his or her sole discretion determines necessary and appropriate, subject to county board appropriations. And that's in part, not the whole statute. But when I looked under the public defender section where they're wanting to give an exception to the public defender, it basically states similar that the public defender in counties, or let's see, the public defender, he shall also in like manner appoint the number of clerks and other employees necessary for the due transaction of the business of the office. The compensation of the assistants, clerks, and employees shall be fixed by the county board and paid out of the county treasury. And it appears like they're asking for an exception to that. And my question to the county board members is if there needs to be an exception to that statute, would there not need to be an exception to the coroner statute, the recorder statute, possibly the other public elected official statutes? So I wanted to bring that to your attention. I apologize, I wasn't at the personnel and policy meeting when they adopted that resolution or presented it, but I thought that could be an issue you should address or think about if you approve that I might want to come back after that then and have an exception to the coroner statute as well. So that's all I wanted. Thank you.
Reverend Zernial Bogan? Did I pronounce your name right?
Hi, I'm Reverend Zernial Bogan. I'm the Vice President of the Champaign County Black Chamber of Commerce, and I'm coming to you tonight to bring up a subject about disparity in the overall hiring of minorities. While there isn't any way that we know right now that we can change things the way things are right now, we would like for the Chamber to consider that the Champaign County Black Chamber of Commerce could and would be able to become a media for the Champaign County, in which minority workers can have an avenue to be able to know when contracts are available to that like. So we're asking the Chamber to place us on their list as being a media outlook and output for that exact measure. Thank you.
Mr. William Kiles?
How's everybody tonight? William Kiles, that's my name. Said it right. I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes to resurface the issues of minority contractors being allowed the same opportunities that any contracting business be allowed when it comes to access to county work. This issue is particularly of interest to me because, A, my father was a minority contractor, and through his eyes I could see, his profession, the ups and the downs. Also, I live in a neighborhood directly affected by the lack of jobs. What I have seen is that joblessness has a direct correlation to crime. Where work is scarce and opportunities are few, I see children make adult decisions, some good, some bad, through illegal drug activities, prostitution, and violence. Where I live, some have hope. However, the overall atmosphere is that nobody really cares. The fact of the matter is, my neighbors prefer jobs over public assistance. Felons who find themselves recycled through the system want an opportunity to work. And mothers who want to put their food in their children's mouth and not the oatmeal of despair. Joblessness in this day and age is a challenge throughout America. I know this. In 2005, the county board passed Ordinance 744, which called for a pre-qualified vendor list that would allow the county to more easily seek out minority contractors. Year to date, this policy has never really been fully implemented. I found that the pre-qualified vendor list is out of date. There isn't even an application to be on the list, and most of the names on the list have never been contacted. While I don't think that Ordinance 744 is a complete answer to the problem, it is a step in the right direction. At least would be a complete list of minority contractors available, and that they would get fair opportunities to bid in county work. So by the next county board meeting, I think a reasonable expectation would be to see an updated list, with at the very minimum, the numbers that are non-existent or don't work are taken off the list, and an application made available to get on that list. And I say expect because this is really an easy one. How difficult would it be to go to Excel and update a list and come up with an application? Most of politics is give and take, meaning I'll do for you because of what you can do for me. I know this, for what benefit it will be in the long run. At the very least, giving qualified minorities the same opportunities to compete for county work benefits the taxpayers, i.e., you and me. Here's a scenario. Where more families are working, there's less crime. Less crime means less tax dollars spent in the judicial system. Less tax dollars spent in the judicial system means more dollars that can either be saved or spent on better programs. Better programs means lower taxes, possibly. Happier people. Happier people means a better Champaign County, and I know that's what everybody in here is working for. Thank you.
Mr. Joe Futrell, or is it Futrell? Futrell.
Hi, I'm Joe Futrell. I live at 1205 South Race in Urbana, and I want to bring up the nursing home again because it's an issue that concerns a lot of us a lot, And I'm not sure that the level of public awareness is high enough on how significant some of the challenges that the board and our community is facing on these. In fact, I have heard fairly credible reports that people have been asked by board members not to speak about the nursing home, not to raise concerns. And frankly, I don't think that is speaks well to the public servant who's going to tell members of the public not to raise concerns about things. I think we have every right to raise concerns about them, and we have every right to hear a reasonable answer. At the budget hearing, we heard that the county board wants to issue tax anticipation warrants against future taxes in order to just make payroll at the nursing home. So I take that, and then I compare that with reading the News Gazette this week, where Mr. McGinty is saying that things are basically okay. MPA's handling it. Things are looking up. Contrast that with what we hear from the union, where we're hearing that working conditions are getting worse and worse at the nursing home, and there's a gap between what the county board must think it's doing when you speak among yourselves and what the public is aware of. And the public needs to know, because these are decisions that the public is going to have to be involved in. We need to know if taxes that we're going to pay in the future are being used to just increase the cash basis at the nursing home to make payroll. That's a difficult situation. We've just witnessed this week the collapse of the investment banking industry. You know that's going to hit county budgets. You know that's going to hit state budgets. And we're going to have to make some hard choices. And what the public needs to know is, what are the county's priorities when we have to make these difficult choices? What are we going to cut first? Why? Is the nursing home really the most important issue here? Or do we have other priorities? Does the public have a say? When I talk to people in the public, they don't know that there's a budget crisis. Some of them don't even know who their county board representatives are. So I want to know where the accountability is. The board needs to do something about the nursing home administration. I'm going to repeat that. The union has been saying this. People I've talked to share these concerns. Please do something about the administration. We don't understand why they're now behind 3 layers of administration and are somehow untouchable. We also need to increase the tax base, and that seems to be a non-starter here. The plan seems to be to just coast. And when I look at what's really going on, I don't think we can afford to just coast. I don't think the public, if they knew, would share that view either. So we need to see some leadership here. And that's all I have to say.
Margaret Wright.
Hello, I'm Margaret Wright from Southwest Champaign, and I have to tell you I'm a little sad tonight listening to the speakers. Norm, I've been here I don't know how many times when Norm from AFSCME Local 900 has literally begged the county board to please do something about the administration. I suspect that she's here at every county board meeting, and nothing has been done. I read last week that with regard to a vendor, perhaps, I don't know if there's anything more, that the county board is being investigated for, not the county board, excuse me, the Champaign nursing home is being investigated, and one of the vendors is being investigated, I believe, for Medicaid fraud. This is under the watch of the present management. Has contract nursing gone down significantly? Has the census come up? People are asking these questions, and there's no answers. Has anybody here on the county board or the advisory board talked to the union? Gone down to AFSCME and talked to them? Asked them what the problem was? How to fix it, perhaps? I sat in this room in June with Mr. Buffenbarger when you good people gave him about $600,000 to make the county nursing home go for the rest of the year. I think y'all remember that. You didn't want him to come back month after month, and so you said, Andy, how much do you need? And he said, I think about $590,000 ought to do it. And you gave it to him because you want to see the nursing home have a chance. Well, I'm a member of the Champaign County Chamber of Commerce, and I sat in a meeting where the finances were disclosed that said that $590,000 was gone as of July. It brought all the payment current, but essentially there was no money left. And I guess that's why tax anticipation warrants are going to be issued to make payroll. So ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? I go to meeting after meeting, and the same question is put to me, and I don't have an answer. And here's the question. Why do the people who have put the county nursing home in jeopardy still maintain their position and in some instances get raises? If we perform that way, we wouldn't still be there. But for some reason, the county board, with our money, doesn't treat the people who run the nursing home with the same amount of scrutiny that they would if we were their employees. I think it's time that that has to stop. The confidence in the county board is really hurting. If you don't think that this makes a difference of how the county board is running the nursing home, wait till you see the response for the sales tax issue, because you are the same people who are advocating that issue, and you're the same people who are running the Champaign County nursing home. And from the public's view, it's all the same. And so I'd ask you to please, please take these issues seriously and to heart, and to come up with a solution. One of the things, and I'll be brief, I stood up here 4 months ago. I'm a lawyer, and I said, you folks have the ability, in an up or down vote, you have the ability to challenge and make sure that Mr. Buffenbarger, who is now an employee of MPA, is approved by the county board. If you don't want him there, send a message. It got tabled. I got tabled. It just says to me, I'm not going to touch this. We're going to let it keep going the way it is. We'll give it to somebody else. It's somebody else's problem. Well, it's somebody else's money as well. Thank you.
Is there further public participation? See none, we'll close that. Announcements. Mr. Beckett.
Thank you, Chair Weibel. On October 15th, it's a Wednesday evening at 6 p.m., the Urbana Half Century Club will have its annual meeting. It's a wonderful club. Anyone who's lived for a substantial period of time in the community can be a member. It meets once a year for dinner. There are no dues. We have entertainment, and we honor each year two citizens. This year's honorees are Harold and Pat Jensen. Harold, of course, is a retired circuit judge and former school board member, and obviously they're longtime members of the community and have done great things for us. You're all welcome. If you want further information about that evening's events and the honors we're giving to the Jensens, please contact me. Thank you.
Ms. Gross.
I have the pleasure to announce that tomorrow evening, David and I will be the honorary coaches at the University of Illinois women's volleyball game. And I won that by having my number drawn out of a bucket. But I encourage you all to come to the event, not because I'm going to be sitting on the bench, but rather because the team is quite good, and it's a joyful, fun evening. Huff Hall, 7 o'clock Friday night.
Who are they playing?
I don't remember.
Ms. Anderson.
I would like to thank the board for the lovely flowers that were sent to me after my surgery. I really appreciated them, and the sentiments that I've heard from a number of board members. It's very encouraging.
Mr. Kurtz.
Thank you.
I want to bring to attention an article that was given to me by the chair. Thank you for this article. It goes back a long ways, but things have come full circle, it seems. This is Hermiston, Oregon. A bizarre health hazard was recently uncovered at a house near the Washington-Oregon state line. More than 700 turtles were found living in the same home, and that number just may end up as an unusual record. An army of red-eared sliders, 728 of them to be exact, were taken from the Hermiston home after police received a tip that the woman was selling them at a festival. Inside the woman's home, investigators found hundreds of turtles jammed into crates stacked on top of each other. The turtles are illegal in Oregon and Washington mainly because they carry salmonella. Even when they're small, one runs a risk of being infected simply by holding one of the turtles. This was stated by the Kevin Blakely with the Department of Fish and Wildlife of Oregon. Police are now trying to track down anyone who bought the turtles for their safety and the safety of the environment. 35 years ago, my son was infected with salmonella by one of these small turtles. And for a number of years, I worked with the United States Congress in forming a law and rules and regulations stopping the interstate transportation of these turtles that were causing infection, salmonella, in tens of thousands of children across the United States, some causing them to die. My son was infected and was seriously ill for more than a month. It seems like they're starting to return, and I want to make a point of the fact that if anyone or parents of small children see any of these for sale, to please inform the local health department immediately because these can be very dangerous. Thank you.
Ms. Putnam.
The burden of each of the participants in public participation was so heavy that I kind of was thinking twice about saying something joyful and fun in the nature of Ms. Gross's contribution, but I have decided to share a communication that I received. Members of the public probably do not realize that 27 county board members received a mailing that at first glance a person might have thought she was receiving a ransom notice. The address comes in 3 pieces of clipped paper with the individual's name cut out, another street address, and the city and zip code. And inside I discover that not only does Frank Gallo have an offering for courthouse statuary, but we have a gentleman in our county who is willing to donate money to erect a statue of Abraham Lincoln at his full height, 6 feet 3.5 inches, with his horse. And people admiring the statue will be invited to gently rub the horse's nose and guess the name of Abe Lincoln's horse. And rub the nose and wish for good luck when you rub it, and come back to Champaign County when you're ready for more good luck. And this individual is willing to donate $100 to erect the statue of the horse and Abraham Lincoln. Thank you.
Do you have an announcement, Deb? Go ahead.
Just wanted to remind board members that the employee recognition events are next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. If you want to participate and you haven't yet signed up, you could contact us in Administrative Services. And also that on Tuesday, October 21st, your next board meeting at 6:30 p.m. before the board meeting, we will conduct the Truth in Taxation public hearing. Just wanted you all to be aware of that.
Thank you. And also, I have the forms here for you to sign up for the employee recognitions events. If you have signed up for these before, please do it again. Also, I'll put the per diem sheet with it. A couple more announcements. The county gives out 2 awards at the annual MLK celebration in early next year. 2 awards are the Burgess Humanitarian Award and the Hoskins Prestigious Community Service Award. Please consider nominating somebody for either of those awards. Also, Mr. James brought up a point about per diem for county board members. Actually, Mr. James, you are right. If you attend a second meeting on the same day, you get mileage per diem for that meeting, but not the payment for the meeting itself. So please make a note of that. Check your records. If you do come to 2 meetings, should at least get paid twice for the mileage. James?
Quick comment. Mr. Beckett has told me I'm right, now you have. I think I'm going to get reelected next time.
You can use the per diem money for your reelection campaign. Also note there's a press release on in your pile of papers from the nursing home. And also the Green Book is the who's in government that's put out by the Champaign County League of Women Voters, and I'd like to thank them for doing that every year at no charge to us. Any other announcements? Okay, let's move on to the consent agenda. Any items that we wish to take off the consent agenda?
I move the consent agenda.
Actually, Ralph moved it. We'll take a second by Mr. Beckett. Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Beckett.
Yes.
Betts.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Cowart.
Yes.
Dennitz.
Yes.
Gladney.
Yes.
Gross. Hunt.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Knott.
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Langenheim.
Yes.
McGinty.
Yes.
Mosher.
Yes.
Nudo.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Putman.
Yes.
Richards.
Yes.
Schrader.
Mr. Sapp is here now.
Oh, is here now? Sapp.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Wysocki.
Yes.
Weibel.
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to committee reports. Facilities, Mr. Beckett.
Facilities recommends adoption of resolution number 6728 approving the Neiman Foods Champaign County parking agreement, and I so move. Second.
Second by Mr. James. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
No further business.
Very good, Mr. Beckett. Policy, personnel, and appointments, Mr. Betts.
Good evening. I move adoption of Resolution 6697, establishing exception to the Champaign County Personnel Policy Ordinance number 770, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Beckett. Discussion. Mr. Betts.
Some folks will note that one of the reasons that this is before us is that the previous month the matter came before the committee without an exception or anything, and we turned it down. Then Judge Devanis asked that we create an exception to our exception within the personnel policy. This is not an exception to state statute. The state statute is not implicated in any way, shape, or form. It is our personnel policy that is implicated. I knew, however, that the issue that came up this evening in public participation would come up, and I certainly do expect others to seek the same thing, and it will be up to the board to have the wherewithal to make a decision when it comes up.
Further discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Move adoption of resolution number 6698, amending Champaign County rules and procedures regarding the Illinois Freedom of Information Act, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Schrader. Discussion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So, Mr. Betts, if I may add, just for information, there is a FOIA request that's on your table. This is a FOIA form which is online. It's kind of you have to print out and fill out, but we're working on having it so you could print it out or fill it out online and send it in electronically. Go ahead, Mr. Betts.
Thank you. I move adoption of resolution 6704, appointing Jay Roloff, Dee Schonkweiler, and Tiffany McElroy-Schmetzer to the steering committee to guide preparation of the Champaign County Land Resource Management Plan, and I so move.
Second by Mr. Connor. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Nothing further.
Thank you, Mr. Betts. Finance Committee, Mr. McGinty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First is the Finance Committee recommends adoption of resolution number 6727, payment of claims authorization, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Beckett. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Finance Committee recommends adoption of resolution number 6705, purchases not following purchasing policy, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Beckett. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Finance Committee recommends adoption of Resolution Number 6717, a budget transfer for $10,000 to pay actuarial fees for OPEB study, and I so move.
Second by Mr. Mosier. Discussion. Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Beckett.
Yes.
Betts.
Yes.
Carter. Cowart. Dinitz.
Yes.
Gladney. Gross. Hunt. James.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Knott.
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Langenheim. McGinty.
Yes.
Mosier. Nudo.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Putman.
Yes.
Richards.
No.
Sapp.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Wysocki.
Yes.
Weibel.
Yes, motion carries.
Item number 4, the Finance Committee recommends adoption of Resolution Number 6718, a budget amendment for $1,130,155 pursuant to the direction from the Finance Committee on September 4, 2008. This increase in appropriation is to transfer reimbursement for the actual cost of maintenance for public safety facilities pursuant to Ordinance Number 683 for previous fiscal years 04, 05, 06, 07, and current fiscal year 08, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Beckett. Discussion. I'd ask Ms. Busey, she could tell us how much we spent on utilities for the last 5 years. Is that right? Or for the
Yeah, well, in...
no, sorry, for those crime, public safety units. Is that, correct me if I'm wrong.
For the public safety facilities, the combined cost of utilities and maintenance in '04 was $618,817, '05 $784,727, '06 $740,717, '07 $1,018,704, and projected for 08, $1,130,155. We had designated an amount of $608,900 to transfer, and we kept that at a constant rate over these years. And now to reestablish a fund balance for the general corporate fund, it seemed appropriate, and it is allowed under the ordinance number 683 that we actually reimburse for all of these costs for these facilities. So this is just to make up the difference over what was previously transferred and what the actual cost was.
Discussion. Mr. Beckett.
So the practical effect is to increase the general corp fund balance.
Further discussion. Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Beckett.
Yes.
Betts.
Yes.
Carter. Cowart. Dinitz. Gladney. Gross. Hunt. James.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Knott.
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Langenheim.
Yes.
McGinty.
Yes.
Mosier.
Yes.
Nudo.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Putman.
Yes.
Richards.
Yes.
Sapp.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Wysocki.
Yes.
Weibel.
Yes, motion carries.
And from the addendum, item number 5, Finance Committee recommends adoption of Resolution Number 6729, a budget amendment for $49,950 to cover line item expenses, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Beckett. Discussion. Ms. Wysocki.
Can I guess I need to ask, are these new election items that have come up since the 08 budget was created? Why, when we're practically on top of an election, are we seeking to buy or purchase new equipment? What wasn't anticipated here that requires this budget amendment?
I know that the county clerk's office has developed a new program for voter registration and elections, and certainly you have representatives from the county clerk's office who may know more about it, but I assume that this amendment has something to do with the expenses associated with that, which included the purchase of a new server, paying for consulting services to develop the programming, and things of that nature, as much as I know.
Ms. Gross?
Why is this an emergency budget amendment? Why did it not come before the committee this month or come before the committee in October?
It was presented after the committee met. And historically, when a budget amendment is submitted and the department indicates that they can't wait until the next month, and since if you waited until October, this would not be approved until about a week before the election, I believe that that's why it's here tonight as an emergency.
Ms. Basaki.
I gather from the description that's provided that some of this equipment or purchases has to do with accessibility issues. I assume this is for handicapped folks to get in and out of either voting places or voting booths or something. No.
Mr. Betts.
Yes, voter registration equipment. Is that the equipment, the little kiosks?
I'm guessing nobody's here to be able to answer that question,
Well,
right?
the only other thing I would add is, please remember, this is the Election Assistance Fund. So the money is there for this expenditure. The revenue is there for this expenditure, and it can only be spent on election assistant type activities. I cannot answer about specifically what is being purchased here because it was not discussed with me, but the money is there, and it is certainly not a general corporate fund expense.
Let's go with Mr. J.
I think our county clerk's got an impeccable record when it comes to our voting equipment and has done an outstanding job up to this point, and I don't think that there's any particular reason for us to question this. I do not believe he would have recommended it if he didn't think it was necessary, and it is within his budget according to Mrs. Busey, so I'm not sure why we don't just go ahead and approve this and get on with it.
Mr. Beckett.
I agree with Mr. J, and I intend to vote for this, but I find it strange to hear Mr. J say this when at all other meetings I hear him say to me that we haven't provided him with sufficient detail.
Further comment, Mr. Betts.
Well, just for the record, I'm going to again ask so that the question is there. Does any of this involve early voting equipment? So that and no one can, because I've been concerned for quite some time that we have early voting. We cannot do it on campus where there are potentially 42,000 people. I'm concerned that we have voter registration equipment, the little kiosks that as soon as the students come back, they disappear from the Illini Union, things of that nature. I'm assuming this is a legitimate bill, but I will not grant the perfection of the county clerk.
Mr. Sheldon is going to attempt to be contacted by phone. Perhaps we could just defer.
Call him right now.
Okay. Perhaps why don't we just... Ms. Butler?
I would like to say it is not like Mr. Sheldon to not be present to explain a measure that he's seeking support for. So I would certainly prefer to return to this later on the agenda after he's had an opportunity to speak with us.
I agree. Why don't we put this aside and move on to the next item? Is that okay? From a parliamentary viewpoint, we just...
You can just proceed with the agenda and come back to
Okay,
us.
very good.
And that's all on finance for now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McGinty. Moving on to highway and transportation.
Okay, the Highway and Transportation Committee has one thing for our board consideration, and that is the adoption of resolution number 6723, authorizing the county board chair to sign amendment number 4 in an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Champaign, the Village of Savoy, and the County of Champaign for the construction of Curtis Road and Rhinestone Drive at Wesley Avenue, and appropriating $1,760,004 for the from the County Motor Fuel Tax Fund, section number 00-003 74-01-PV. And I so move.
Second by Mr. Langenheim. Discussion. See none. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Sorry, we had one nay. Thank you. Motion carries.
That's all from Highway.
Thank you, Ms. Coward. Environment and Land Use, Ms. Wysocki.
There's just one item from the Environment and Land Use Committee, and I move the adoption of ordinance number 834, amending ordinance number 255, which would establish an enterprise zone, and I so move.
Second. Second by Mr. Schrader. Discussion.
That's for a roll call.
We want to ask for roll call. Mr. Kurtz.
Yeah.
Please use your microphone.
Excuse me?
Microphone.
Sorry. I feel that economic development and business development is really a cornerstone and priority of the county board. The enterprise zone, as Mr. Betts has stated in our committee meeting, has been a success in bringing new businesses and jobs to Champaign County. And I think this resolution will give this company incentive to locate a new business in Champaign and occupy and rebuild a 58-year-old structure that has been vacated. They will assume the taxes and bring new jobs to this area of I-74. I think this is more of a nonpartisan issue, and I would vote yes on this resolution.
Any other discussion? Mr. Betts has asked for roll call. Does anybody else want a roll call? Ms. Gross, is there a third? Mr. Connor, okay. Roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Beckett.
Yes.
Betts.
Yes.
Carter. Cowart.
Yes.
Dennitz.
Reluctantly, yes.
Gladney.
No.
Gross.
No.
Hunt. James.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Jones. Knott.
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Langenheim. McGinty.
Yes.
Mosher. Nudo.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Putman.
Yes.
Richards.
No.
Sapp.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Wysocki.
Yes,
Weibel.
Yes, motion carries.
that's all from Eli.
Okay, let's move on to other business. First of all, item A, I'd ask to have that deferred because legal counsel has not had time to review that. Any objection? We'll look at that next month, hopefully. Go on to item B. We have is there someone can move that perhaps? Mr. Betts?
I move adoption of resolution 673 authorizing acceptance of IESMA State Homeland Security Grant.
Second by, Mr. Sapp. Discussion. I'd like to point out this was brought in by Mr. Keller, and he felt he needed to have it authority to move on it as soon as possible. Ms. Wysocki.
Well, again, this did not come through the Finance Committee, and could somebody give me at least a quick summary about what this grant will provide for? Is this a renewal of existing grants that we've had regarding Homeland Security? What's going on?
Unfortunately, it just was dropped on my desk. He never communicated with me, so I can't say that.
Is there an urgency about this one?
The money has to be spent fairly quickly. The window in time is, this grant is $13,293 for the period from September 1st, 2008 to January 31st, 2009. The purpose of the funding is for an on-scene incident management program initiative. I can't explain that, but.
Mr. Beckett.
Is this an earmark?
I don't think so.
Federal funds, isn't
Actually,
it?
that's exactly what
Well, it's Homeland
Really
Security.
very
Well,
sensitive to this issue. Right now.
it depends on your definition of earmark, okay? Thank you, Mr. Langenheim. Ms. Cowart.
Is this something to do with our lease?
No, this actually do with just EMA. Or Mr. Knott?
I think these might have been the weather radios that we talked to Mr. Keller
Yeah,
about.
if you look on the last page of your addendum, it identifies exactly what is expected to
go.
be purchased with this grant.
They are radios. Thank you, Mr. Knott.
Okay.
Very good, Mr. Knott. Okay, further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Beckett?
I forgot in announcements I was supposed to make one other announcement, so I asked unanimous consent to make an announcement out of order.
Go ahead, Mr. Go ahead, Mr. Beckett.
Today, I don't know if any of you had at your desk tonight a progress report on the courthouse exterior masonry project and the clock tower. You can see that there is metal going up. It's going up quite quickly. I want everyone here to know and the public to know that on about October 6th, a section that is about 35 feet high that goes all the way up to the steeple will be lifted up at one time. And so the entire metal structure of the clock tower will be in place some 135 feet high. That's pretty exciting news. Today, we had the opportunity for the Citizens Committee to come by and sign a girder that it's going to be placed in the building. And tomorrow at 4 o'clock, from 4 to 4:30, any county board members that want to stop by and sign a girder so that your name will be there forever, please do so. Mr. Ressler will be there. He'll be waiting for you with appropriate writing utensils and a girder for you to do it. You're more than welcome to come. Tomorrow at 4.
Do we have some discussion of this item? I guess Mr. Schrader.
May I inquire from the chairman of the Facilities Committee, has the foundation been fully exposed?
The foundation was fully, I guess if you didn't catch the public announcements, but the foundation was fully exposed. It's interesting, if you look at the pictures of the foundation, you see the metal, the steel, the structural steel that was in the foundation, they were railroad rails. See how they built them back at the turn of the century? Our engineers tell us that concrete actually gets stronger with age so long as it is not exposed to the elements. The foundation is solid. We poured a base cap on top of the foundation, and the metal is now being erected on that base cap and is going up. It's up 3 stories already.
I thank the chair.
Ms. Putnam, you had a comment quick?
I just wanted it to be repeated where it's at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock right in front of the courthouse.
It's a 4 o'clock or 4:30?
Between 4 and 4:30.
4 and 4:30, okay.
Between 4 and 4:30.
But the girders, obviously, they're going to be built over. They're not going to remain exposed.
Right, it's very symbolic.
I love my brick.
Okay, let's move on back to the agenda. Let's go back to item finance, item 5 on the addendum. Ms. Busey, you have some comments on that?
Yes, the expenditure is for 10 accessible voter assistance terminals that were ordered to be used both in early voting and at polling places on Election Day. These terminals are machines that are used for people with disabilities to enable them and to assist them with having their ballots marked.
Mr. Beckett.
I want the record to reflect that I would have voted for it even if I didn't know that.
Well, you'll have your opportunity. Mr.
Because
Betts.
I trust the county clerk.
Mr. Betts.
I don't trust the county clerk, but I'll vote for it anyway. The question I have is there going to be early voting available at the University of Illinois campus this election? Does anyone know?
I do not.
Okay.
Mr. James.
Call question.
We'll do that. Let's roll call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Beckett.
Yes.
Betts.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Cowart.
Yes.
Dennitz.
Yes.
Gladney.
Yes.
Gross. Hunt.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Knott.
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Langenheim. McGinty.
Yes.
Lozier. Nudo.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Putman.
Yes.
Richards.
Yes.
Sapp.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Wysocki.
Yes.
Weibel.
Yes, motion carries. New business. Mr. Nudo, did you want to bring something up under new business?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
2 items. As a matter of information, the question was brought up at public participation regarding the letter that was sent by the chamber to all county board members. The assumption that I think most people made, if you chose to respond to it, you could do it on your own, but there was an organized effort to meet with the chamber, the entire chamber board yesterday, of which Pius representing the county, Deb representing Mike Scavato because he could not be there. He was, I gave him the wrong date, and he was here today. So Deb presented in basically broad brushstroke idea about what the budget was for 2009, and Chuck Lansford made the presentation on behalf of the nursing board, and I believe that the chamber received a full presentation about what was happening at the nursing nursing home, as opposed to just several issues that Ms. Schwartz presented to them. So they got a fuller picture of what was going on. And Pius, do you have any additions to that?
I think that we answered their questions as best as possible. I really don't see any reason why we should bring this up as an item on any county board agenda meeting.
Right.
And I don't think that was the intent of the Chamber of Commerce either. They just wanted some sort of reply in one form or another.
I was just using it as a forum to explain to the person who had access to our letter what's been done, if there was a concern there by the public. What I wanted to bring up, and I don't know if it's a part of Robert's Rules of Order, which I believe there's a committee that's been established, or something apart from that, but I would like to see the county have some background and training from the state's attorney and from Human Relations about what we can and can't say about county employees, in particular calling for their jobs. And I'm very concerned about the liability of what we say about county employees when there are rules and regulations and personnel rules and regulations that are established for how to work with the employees as to any kind of disciplinary actions that are required. And I know that the board went through a previous issue before I came on board, which cost us $100,000. So I would be careful, according to what the state's attorney told us in policy, about we do have insurance for what we say, but if negligent, you're not covered. And I think that that should be part of what we should be made aware of, so that when we say something about an employee, we know what we're getting into. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nudo. Any other business? We're adjourned.